only on Bloomberg Quint.
Good afternoon. Thanks for tuning in. You're watching Ask BQ on Bloomberg Quint Live, and I'm Navneet Saluja D'Souza.
Hi, Navneet. I'm Alex Matthew. Now, if you've got questions on equity, do send them to us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp. You can also call us on 022-454-04141, or you can mail us on askbq@bloombergquint.com. Just make sure to add the AskBQ hashtag. Well, I mean, not too much to be said. Of course, we have gains for both the benchmarks at this point, and the big news, of course, is the verdict on SR. But in fact, we are running out of time on this show, so let me, without further ado, get our two experts in for the day. We've got Aditya Agarwala of Yes Securities, and of course, Sharmila Joshi, who is an independent investment advisor. Welcome to the show, both of you. Any ideas, Aditya, that you would have for us at this point?
So markets going up. So I've got a couple of recommendations. Probably one can look to go long in Granules. Yesterday also I mentioned that stock on the show. Today also I'm mentioning it. It's strong counter levels of 124. One should look to get into the stock. This is a positional buy for targets of 135, 145. Place a stop somewhere around 120. So it's a good. And the second is Ujjivan stock is witnessing some short covering rally. So one can go long. This is more of a day trade. Current levels of 277, one can expect targets of 290 on the upside, place a stop somewhere on 265.
Sharmila, very quickly come in on this SR Steel verdict. How big is it according to you, and would you say that this is beneficial for the entire banking space as a whole, taking this as a precedent going forward?
Absolutely. I think that's how market is reacting to it, and rightfully so, because this has been now not just SR Steel, but the whole host. All the cases have been going on for quite some years. And I think it's high time that we see a successful closure of one of these cases and money coming in. That's when I think, the sort of faith will get restored in the system. So as you said, I think it will be taken as a positive for the entire banking system.
And you can see the reaction in the Nifty PSU Banking Index, which is your top sectoral gainer, up about 4% in trade. All right, let's get going and let's start taking our viewer queries then. The first one comes in from Kushal Botra, who's written to us, and he wants a short-term view on a stock like Just Dial. Okay, for all the F&O traders of Just Dial, the stock is in the F&O ban period, and this is the second day when it's been in the ban period. Let me take this query to Aditya. On the charts, there was some fresh shorting seen the day the stock actually entered into the F&O ban, but overall, what levels would you ask to monitor if somebody's already taken a position here?
So if somebody is trading short in the stock, the next target that I'm playing out with is 455 to 460. That should be your next support level. If somebody is willing to take a short, wait for a pullback to levels of 535 to 540. Those will be good levels to again initiate fresh shots in the stock. Place a stop somewhere around 570. There's enormous weakness in the stock. My sense is that downtrend should continue in the coming trading sessions as well.
Okay, I want to take Anu's question. I've noticed that she's asked this question a few times. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to take it, so I'll take it first on the show. She's asking for a fundamental view on Zee Entertainment. Sharmila, I'm coming to you on this one. Based on the fundamentals, how do you rate it? And of course, there are overhangs with regard to promoter debt and all that. How do you play it?
I wouldn't really buy it because, I think that there is still no clarity on what is happening, who is the buyer stepping in. And let's not forget that this is now in, the company had sort of said a year back that they really want to sell some part of their equity to make good the debt. But they've not been able to find a buyer so far. And, as I think last month or something, they have appointed investment bankers to help them through with this sale. And they've again now taken time till March of next year to complete this transaction. So I think it makes sense to really look at it only once you have clarity on what is really happening with that situation. Because obviously, I think promoters. It looks like promoters are going to now change. So I think I would just wait and watch the developments and not really enter it at this price. You might be able to get it lower because we don't know how this transaction is going to proceed.
Okay, and that's been the biggest overhang when you look at company like Z. In fact, the shareholding, the promoter shareholding, which is 22% out of that, almost 90% has been pledged, and that's the worry. In fact, as per the latest reports, there were some indications that the mutual funds could look to sell the stake, but nothing of that sort of at least happened so far. They had asked for extension, which they got, and the street's been waiting for the announcement where the promoters are looking to sell further stake. Okay. Pull up Marico. Akshay Mittal writes to us, and he's entered Marico at levels of about 372, and currently the stock's trading below Akshay's buy price. Aditya, he's suggesting, of course, it's gone down, but what would be the right advice? Would you advise him to exit at current levels or hold on, put a stop loss?
So he's gone into a weaker stock at the moment, which is trading on weak hands. Put a stop at 350. If that is broken on the downside, you should be out of your long trade. I see a downside target of 320 if in case the stock breaks 350. So 350 should be an ideal stop loss. And for the timing, let's see if there's a short covering rally, you should ideally exit. First, I see a test of 320 on the downside.
Okay, interesting question from Mayur Mhatre on Facebook. This one's for you, Sharmila. He's asking about Bajaj Auto, and he's asking whether this is the right instance to buy for the next 5 years. So he's got a good enough time horizon of the automotive companies, and particularly in two-wheelers, considering that Bajaj Auto has a significant portion of its volumes coming from exports, and additionally the fact that it's changed its strategy somewhat to play in the mass market segment. Do you think all of those factors could benefit them over the next 5 years?
What we've really seen benefit Bajaj Auto is that they were able to read the slowdown better than the other players in the two-wheeler space, which is why I think the stock is sort of holding out in a what I would say is a weak environment. So I think what has happened is that in the last month, because the monthly sales numbers were good, we've seen a sort of a rally in all the stocks. So it's a good stock to buy for 5 years. But I would just say that wait, because I think I just heard this morning the promoter speak, and he said that November so far has been weak. So let's wait for the November numbers. Maybe you could see stocks sort of between December to January, February, you could see that whole BS6 overhang play out, and you may be able to get it cheaper. So try and buy the stock on dips. But yes, I think with a 5-year view, Bajaj Auto is a good stock within the two-wheeler space.
Okay, only if you're a long-term investor, say next 5 years, you can look to hold on to Bajaj Auto in your portfolio. Let me take a query on RNAM, and this one comes in from one of our viewer, handle name called YY, holding the stock at 368, wants a technical and fundamental view as well. Okay, let me take a technical view first. Aditya, 368, yesterday or day before, I guess the stock was really active. What are the charts indicating?
So it's a strong looking chart. After a correction and a consolidation, stock is now posting decent. Charts look definitely attractive on the from a long-term time horizon, not from an intraday or short-term. I would like to get into the stock around levels of 350, 340. One should definitely start nibbling into RNAM. I'm looking for a northward target of 450 to 500 if somebody holds on to it for about 6 to 7 months. So this is one of the stocks which in the sector I think is an underperformer. There were multiple overhangs, we all know about it. Now the chart pattern definitely suggests that there's more momentum on the upside, which will start building up. So start accumulating around 350, 340. Those are good levels to get into.
What's your target again, and what's your stop loss on this trade?
So I will place a stop somewhere around 310 on the downside, and I'm looking for a target of minimum 400 on the upside. If 400 is taken out, I'm looking for a next target of 450. So this is one of the plays when I'll stick onto it for like 5 to 6 months.
Okay, 6-month trade if you want to hold on. The target is 450. But Sharmila, very quickly, do you think the valuation catch-up has played out, or there are more legs to this rally for RNAM?
Yes, I think in fact I like that entire space. So perhaps I like the other stocks more. But yes, things could be positive for RNAM also, especially if you're a longer term investor. So I would continue to hold.
Okay, I think we've gotten multiple queries on SPI. We've got Puneet and somebody else also who's bought around the 275, 280 mark. The counter is very active in trade. You know why at this point? It's up 5% at 322 or thereabouts. I think I'll take this question to Sharmila. Sharmila, we began by this, and you mentioned very briefly what your thought is with regard to the banking space, and you think that this is a positive. But would you hold SPI for the long term?
Yes, absolutely. Two reasons. One is I think that if you're looking at it only from a pure numbers perspective, we did see market give the stock a thumbs up post their quarter numbers, which I think were a lot better than most of the other stocks in the PSU space. And I think this kind of a development that we've seen today, if that really plays out, probably the bank that will, within the PSU space, that will benefit the most could be SBI, because they have exposure to a lot of the sort of leveraged play that we're seeing, and a successful closure of, at least of the 2 or 3 big cases that we're seeing could bring tremendous relief to in their books. So yes, I think absolutely this on on the basis of the judgment that we've gone today, definitely there is. It seems to suggest that there could be an upside to SBI.
And we'll be waiting out for the recoveries now, what they make. Remember, SBI has the maximum exposure to Essar Steel of over 13,000 crore. Aditya, I'm going to come to you for the next question. Ujjwal Kumar already has position into something like HDFC Bank at 1225, TCS at 2060. Both the stocks are trading above his buy price. What he wants to know is, should he book profits or he should look to add more at current levels to increase his profits in the near term?
So I'll talk of HDFC Bank first. Stock has underperformed the other private sector banks in the recent run-up. Now it seems that it might just do a catch-up. So hold on to HDFC Bank. If it starts to trade above 1285 is the next resistance zone, 1285 on the cash level. If it starts to trade above 1285, you can add on to the long positions which you already have for targets of 1320 on the upside. Place a stop somewhere around 1260 to about 1250. The second stock we were referring to was
TCS at 2060. The stock's currently...
Oh yes, definitely you should add on to TCS at current levels. It's a strong looking stock. Post a correction, 3 days of strong sessions, upward momentum in the stock. Stop loss should be 2150, a target of 2300 on the upside.
I think this is not a stock-specific question. I think it's more to do with strategy, but I think you can answer this, Aditya. The question is from Dr. Balaji. Thank you so much for writing to us, Doctor. The question is, if you are a long-term investor and you've gotten in on fundamentals, should you still keep a stop loss? On technicals, because you can suddenly see a crack in a stock, and you've seen that in multiple instances over the past 6-7 months. What is the answer?
So I would definitely keep a track of my portfolio. Whether to keep a stop loss or not is one's prerogative. But what I would do ideally, if I'm holding on to a long-term investment, I would like to take a look at my portfolio once a quarter, every quarter, and take a look at the long-term charts. Don't look at daily charts, don't look at short-term charts. Probably look at a weekly chart or a monthly chart or a yearly chart. And if the trend is still up, I would stay invested in the stock. The moment I see a trend reversal, I would like to exit from that position and keep a stop loss. Take out a long-term support area and keep a stop loss around those areas. If that support is taken out over a long-term chart, you are out of that position. Because you've seen, as you mentioned, there are multiple occasions wherein the stock over a long period of time has given you phenomenal return, but in just a matter of time, stock starts cracking and then it's trading at an all-time low. So definitely you should keep a stop loss, keep tracking your portfolio at least once every quarter. That will help you in maximizing your profits.
Sharmila, very quickly on this point, is it simply a matter of controlling your expectations on a stock and then just booking losses?
I would completely, the only thing that I want to add to what Aditya said was that you have to also see whether the thesis for which you bought the stock has changed in the interim. That would be the only thing that I would add. So suppose you bought the stock expecting, XYZ things to happen, and for whatever reason they've not happened, or there is something that goes wrong with the existing setup, that's when you really take a call whether you want to sell or not. And definitely you can take a chart check at that point in time, and as he suggested, take a long-term chart check. But yes, I think this is a really interesting query, for sure.
Okay, let's move back to the individual stocks then. And Sharmila, I'm going to come back to you. Adarsh Goel wants a fundamental view on something like Tata Global Beverages. The stock's trading at 34 times this year earnings, and we've seen a good run-up post the announcement of acquiring the consumer business of Tata Chemical. Do you think it's worth holding in the portfolio, or do you find it even attractive at current levels of nearly 300 rupees?
So I think yes to both the questions, and precisely for what you said, because they've acquired Tata Chemicals consumer business, and I think now this puts them in the category of an FMCG play. So far we've been giving them volume, the valuations of a trading company. Now increasingly they're going to, increase their reach because Tata Global has had a fairly diverse and interesting, Tata Chemicals has had a fairly diverse and interesting, whether it's grains or, all kinds of consumer business products. And now Tata Global will really, leverage on that and hopefully make it a much bigger business. So yes, I like the stock at current levels.
I want to slip in one last question. Bharti Airtel performing well today, notwithstanding its big loss operationally. Navneet's had a look at the numbers, pointed out that it was better than expected. What do you say on the technicals?
400 is a massive resistance for the stock. Stock fails to take out that every time it moves towards 400. So if it breaks out of 400 and closes above it on a sustained basis, I would continue to hold my long positions. If it fails to break out of 400, I won't go long in the stock. If I'm holding on to long, I'll look to actually book out profits around 400, because the stock has a tendency of whipsawing between 400 to about 340 on the downside.
All right, fair enough. On that note, I'd like to thank both our guests, Aditya and Sharmila, for helping our viewers with all the queries that you did answer today.
All right, have a good weekend. But remember, we're just a tweet, post, or a call away. So please keep your queries coming, and we promise to address most of them through our shows. For all our previous episodes, you can visit our YouTube channel or our website, BloombergQuint.com. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned to Bloomberg Quint.